Sean here with BaseMint Comics. It's Tuesday, January 27th. It's the night before New Comic Book Day, and I have a ridiculous stack of books from last week that I wanted to chat about. A few of them, and, last Wednesday of the month is always... Oh, I made myself my very own merch, think of. That's what I'm having the Tuesday night. Let's talk about comics, get all hopped up on tea, and is a BaseMint Comics mug. Last Wednesday of the month, always the busiest Wednesday for me just because of some work things that go on. And tonight, in a few hours, Wonder Man premieres, and I'm very excited about that. I've been looking forward to this MCU show. The only problem is being a responsible adult with a job and a family. I can't just hang out and chill like me and the wife used to do in the old days and binge watch an entire show. And I've appreciated Disney rolling them out like one a week, because it was like, oh, we can put the kid to bed, we can watch one episode, and I don't get spoiled. But this one, they were like, we're going to throw it all out there at once. So, gonna watch a couple episodes tonight, and then my sister is swooping in after work tomorrow to rescue her favorite nephew for a few hours so we can hopefully finish out the series. So, normally after work when I'd be filming the rest of the Wednesday night video, I'm probably going to be hanging out in the movie section of the BaseMint Comics HQ if you watch the room tour, and hopefully finishing off Wonder Man. And I hope I love it because I'm excited for it. Anyways, let's see. Okay, so Tuesday night. Let's talk about last week's books while I get jacked up on tea. Okay, here goes. How's everybody doing? All right, my favorite of the week. This should come as no surprise. Fantastic Four. Ryan North's killing it, as per usual. Let's see, Legacy number 733. This is one of the first times that he's done like a multi-issue arc. This is a part 2. But here's the great thing. And I say this as a person who absolutely, obviously, if you've been watching any of these, any of the Corner Box Classic stuff, you realize that I enjoy reading things in order. The Corner Box Classic thing, everything. There were plenty of times as a child when I would get back issues and I'm like, oh, I can't, even if I bought this one, can't read it until I have the complete story. It wasn't, the sickness wasn't as bad when I was a kid, but here we are. All that to say, as I was rereading this last night to get ready for today, I realized, it helps if you read the first part of this story, but you could just pick up this and understand what's going on. And it's just so good. Obviously, Galactus has sent out a mission that he's, find Sue Storm. And so the team decides that they are going to go and find Galactus. They're going to go to Galactus. But this leaves them kind of open to invasion. And so they come up with the plan of hey, Alicia and the kids are we're going to be the replacement Fantastic Four while this goes on. And so the team comes up with this idea of okay, well, let's kind of get stand-ins, and we'll give them teleporters. And if there's any issue, they can just immediately teleport in. And because somebody might see this signal as well. To most people, it's going to be gibberish, but some people might get it. And so this is just this really, kind of sweet issue where you see the team go through the motions of, basically choosing, who their designated, stand-in hero is, So, Johnny goes and sees Wyatt Wingfoot and is basically hey, man, I trust you to protect the kids. And it's just kind of a sweet, if you've been... it's Fantastic Four history. And so it's just nice to see Wyatt Wingfoot. And then if you're reading, just the recent stuff, you know that that Sue and Black Cat have started building this very like awkward friendship. And that was like the year of Black Cat for me, as I've been enjoying, the in the Corner Box Classics. A few months back, I was first introduced to her. She's been popping up in Jed MacKay's Avengers in a great run that I really loved. Solo series has been great, and her interactions with Sue have been fantastic. So that's all good. So that's who she picks, and it's just a very nice, sweet moment. And the Mad Thinker, he figures out what's going on. So he's like, this is the perfect time to attack. And so, of course, he does. And the whole issue is narrated by Ben. And Mad Thinker does attack. The heroes, our heroes, have chosen to take their place to fill in if the family gets attacked, pop up. And the Mad Thinker has already thought. Like, he knew who they were going to choose. And so he has a way to defeat them. So he makes quick work of the Fantastic Four stand-in that they chose because he figured. And then it cuts to who Ben's picking. And like, it's just this beautiful, where is it? I got to move my T. It's this beautiful callback to, let's see. I got to go to, I'm looking through my Marvel 2-in-1s right now and I can't remember the issue number, but I recently covered it on Corner Box Classics. Where are you? It's got to be around here somewhere. No. Basically, the whole issue with Ben is him going around and like he's basically discussing how like, in the fights and up against the bad guys, he has befriended some of them. And it harkens back to this, my favorite issue of Marvel 2-in-1, issue number 86. The Time Runs Like Sand, released December 29th, 1981. And it basically just shows, like, this issue is great if you've never read, if you haven't watched the Corner Box Classics issue where I touched on this one. It is Sandman and Thing having a beer and talking about their youth and how they basically kind of, like, they could have gone, they had the same path for a little bit, and then there was a diversion, and one went one way and one went the other. And so there's just this beautiful, like, I don't want to spoil it because I would love it if more people read this Fantastic Four, because I know that there are people out there who are like, the best thing out there in the world right now is Absolute Universe and Ultimate Universe and Marvel stinks and blah, blah, blah. This is great. It's great comic. Like, you could just go pick this one up and you'd read it and you'd be like, that's a great comic. So there you have it. And so, Ben winds up choosing some, choices that the Mad Thinker was not expecting him to choose. So he was ill prepared for this. So it's a good issue. It's a great issue. I just talked about it for way too long. Inglorious X-Force. I'm a sucker for a time travel story. Cable coming back and having to stop the assassination of the first mutant president. Who that was very cool. I really dug that. And I don't much care for Helverine. I feel when it comes to, like, I like Laura, but it's sort of one of those things where, like, if that character had never been introduced, I don't think I'd lose any sleep. I take that back. I really liked Logan. But in the comics, it's like, yeah, okay, I've enjoyed some Laura stories, but the let's have 1,000 Wolverines is as irritating to me as the let's have a Spider-Verse every 6 months. It bums me out. So I don't care about Helverine. Boom Boom, though, in this, I love. And I feel like other than Rick Remender's Uncanny X-Force and Kyle and Yost X-Force before that, I feel like Warren Worthington has been mistreated for decades. And I really wish that someone who, like, had a handle on that character could actually do something with him. Like the Rick Remender, I almost wish when Rick Remender gave him his swan song that had just been it, and we didn't bring that character back. Because he was brought back, and nothing really of substance has been done with the character. So I hope that Tim Seeley has something in store for him, then that's not just like, oh, I'm Angel, but I can turn into Archangel, which, I mean, I don't get it. I don't understand it. But as far as them continuously trying to drop X-Force books on us, this was at least fun and has a cool time travel premise that I'm all about. X-Men number 324. This was another epilogue to Age of Revelations, the event that won't end. Again, I will say this until someone at Marvel listens to me. That whole Age of Revelation thing could have just been done in McKay's X-Men, and it did not need to be a 3-month terrible stretched out event that was line wide with 17 different titles that really amounted to nothing. And then when it's finally wrapped up, you're like, we're going to do an epilogue issue that shows what the Cyclops from the future did while he was in Scott's body. And then in this issue of X-Men, we're going to show you what happened to the character that was in the Beast body. And hang on. Okay, so when naming my lovely child, I chose to, well, we, but I led the charge in this, chose the name of my 2 favorite fictional doctors, Dr. Henry McCoy and Dr. Henry Indiana Jones. Now, I was so happy at the end of the Krakoan era because, let me tell you, naming your kid after a fictional character that goes absolutely batshit crazy and becomes a monster, even though in the cartoon he's like the fun, smart, well-read dude that you hope your children grow up to be. And then on the other hand, there's a doctor that runs around, getting stuff back to museums and punching the hell out of Nazis. It's perfect. That's what you want. You're like, this is the guidebook, right? And then Marvel's like, hey, let's make that character the worst. And, lo and behold, the bad guy of 3K or whatever that they're doing in the X-Men is just that bad Beast. He didn't go away like I thought he did. Like I was hoping, so I could get my Avengers happy Wonder Man best pal Beast back, George Perez. That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted. And they gave it to me. And then they were like, ooh, but what we're going to do is we're going to do this Dark Beast again. Like, I lived in the 90s. I did Dark Beast once. Wasn't great then. It's not great now. Make up a new villain. Don't just make Beast an asshole. Anyways, so, I thought we were through this. I even, when I met Benjamin Percy, I was like, thank you for giving me old Beast back. And then Jed McKay is like, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to bring Dark Beast back. And a different Dark, okay. Hulk Smash Everything number 2. It's exactly what I wanted. It was Hulk punching a dinosaur. I mean, if I'm like, let me go to the comic book store and drop $3.99. It's Hulk punching a dinosaur. That's great. Amazing Spider-Man number 20. Not as good as the space stuff. This was the first real letdown of the the flipping in between the two, And what really bummed me out about this is Ben Reilly is basically just like, yeah, I'm done. He just sort of leaves, and I thought that was weird. And I wish, being a 90s kid, there is a soft spot that I have for Ben Reilly, okay? I get it. He's not Peter. But if you grew up in that time period, there's a little bit of a soft spot for the character. And I'm tired of people bringing him back to just do him dirty and then throw him back to the trash heap. Just leave him alone. Just leave him there. If you're not going to do anything of substance or do anything good for the character, just leave him alone. Just leave him alone. Stop the video there for a second because I thought there was a thing happening upstairs between, the missus and the child. But no, they're just playing. I was like, oh man. then I paused it and I was like, oh, all right. He's all right. They're just upstairs playing with Spidey figures while I wrap this up, and then we all get to hang out. So let's get through it. Captain America #6. Like I said, I was weirded out by the time shift in the first 5 issues, but then read them like 1 through 5 in one sitting and was like, oh yeah, this is as great as I was hoping it was going to be, because I love Chip Zdarsky's writing. And I got excited with issue 6 because they were like, hey, we're bringing back S.H.I.E.L.D. And so I was like, oh, I like Helicarrier, sure. But it's a much more subdued S.H.I.E.L.D. It's like underground. And this was kind of cool because being a kid that like, you know, like, I mean, my sweet spot for comics was 90s, but I was born in the 80s, in the early 80s. So I lived through the 80s. And so I was a big G.I. Joe guy. And so this sort of like the characters that they introduce kind of have that like, ooh, we're special ops and we're here for a very specific reason. And so I kind of dug that because I was like, oh, it'll be fun, you know, getting to know some S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. Psylocke Ninja. I didn't like the cover and I didn't like the issue. Yeah, it just wasn't great. You know, I missed like, and it's weird too, because like one of the very first comics that I ever got, after I picked up like my first comic, like when I went to the store, rifled through the back issues, one of the first issues that I was like getting off the stands was when Ravanchi revealed that she had the legacy virus. This means it's, you know, so it's like, I don't have a problem with Quanon, but it's like not a well that I constantly want to go back to. And so this will be the test. You can tease me if I pick up issue. I'm going to pick up issue #2. I already ordered it from my shop. But I was just like, this isn't... Sometimes the Between the Raindrops issues are handled spectacularly, and they fit right in there, and they don't, like... And then this one just sort of, I don't know, just, you know, not great. And that's one of those moments where I lament, $4.99, come on. I'm the problem. I could have found a kick-ass back issue for that for. This is gonna be what breaks me. That Mortal Thor #6. He takes on Cobra. This was fun because like it's not Thor, it's Sigurd Jarlson, or however you say his name. The Pascal fairy art is fun, but obviously Thor is like unaware during this that he is the mortal Thor, like he can be hurt. So there's kind of this like he's fighting Cobra, and that's fun because normally Thor would just smite him and that would be the end of it. But this isn't really Thor, it's the mortal Thor, so it actually is a fight. I don't know, that was fun. It's better than Psylocke. Daredevil and Punisher is good. It's Daredevil and Punisher story. I'm not going to get too much into it because there really wasn't like, it's like issue #3 of the Daredevil and Punisher story. What it has done, I always like it. Misty Knight shows up, and I was like, Misty Knight, because, you know, X-Men adjacent. She was Jean Grey's roommate for the early years. And so, yeah, it's just a, you know, it's a fun Daredevil Punisher mini-series. Rogue #1, I guessed correctly that this was not a Between the Raindrops, although it kind of like, it's like Rogue's having flashbacks. This was a fun issue. I enjoyed it, but what I didn't enjoy is the first couple of pages. Like, they're fighting like a kaiju weasel, and I was like, I love big dumb comics, but I was like, why are they fighting a giant? Was it a weasel? I could be wrong. I don't know what kind of animal it was, but it was not cool. But once they finally defeated that, I was all right with it. X-Men of Apocalypse #2. This took me, like, I had another, like, my issue with this is, A, I don't like people going back to the Age of Apocalypse well, because I think it wrapped up perfectly back in the day, and it's kind of one of those things that I hold close to my heart, and I don't like it when they go back to it, but it is Jeff Loeb going back to it, and he's good, and this Simone DeMaio, the art's really nice, and it's of that time period, while still being fresh, and I like these characters. Obviously, the Age of Apocalypse characters have been shunted in time to when the original X-Men are around, and you know, tomfoolery happens. I think my issue in the first, I think I had an issue when I read the Zero and first issue, because they didn't explain why Forge was there, and I didn't realize yet, like they did for me anyways, they did kind of a bad job of explaining that this was like before all of that stuff, so Forge was there, but Nate's there. It was a little bit weird, but I could suspend disbelief because this was fun. Spider-Man 94, as a kid who grew up with the Spider-Man cartoon, with the Spider-Man toys from the cartoon, this was a little love letter to it by J.M. DeMatteis, and it was fun, and it gave me a better version of Morlun than the 616 universe ever had, and it wrapped up beautifully. Like, it was really good. It was really good. I know there were some like complaints early on that the art didn't match the cartoon, but I don't care because it was fun. And then the last comic that I read was Spider-Man and Wolverine, and I read that after Spider-Man 94, and it's fine. Okay, so Carr Andrews has been doing the art for the book, and it's been a lot of fun, but Gerardo Sandoval is the fill-in, and it's good, but like it's not Carr Andrews, and that was one of the draws for the book. So I mean, it's an alternate reality story, and I tend to dig those. This book's an anomaly to me, though, because I thought it was like one of those 5-issue miniseries, and so when I got to the end, I was legitimately like, I wonder how long they're gonna try to, you know, I feel like Marvel has an issue getting things past 10 or 12 issues, especially when it's stuff like this. So I was kind of curious. Like, I'm like, have I ordered anything past issue number 10? Is it, like, the story has been fun, particularly the first arc, but then I saw that as it was wrapping up, it said to be concluded. And so I was like, oh, it's probably not making it past 10 issues. And to be completely honest, I'm okay with that. So, those are my books from this week, or last week. I am excited about Wonder Man. I'm sure I will talk about a little bit of that, but I probably won't. It'll just be like, did I like it? Yes, but I won't really go into specifics because, you know, I wouldn't, you know, people watch things at different times and intervals, and I don't like, it's part of the reason why I talk about books a week later, because at least you've got a heads up of like, hey, these have been out a week, but I don't rush home on Wednesdays and immediately read all my books, because I don't. It is, normally this would be like when I'd be like, all right, we're gonna go hit the trails and ride our bike, but we have like a foot of snow outside, and it's like insanely cold. Like, it's gonna be like -7 tomorrow when I would be biking up to the shop. And if this were back in the day and I was going up to the shop solo, no problem. I have friends who can attest that I was crazy. However, I have the little dude attached to me, and I'm not going to take him out in anything that would be dangerous. So more than likely, I'm going to cut to us going to the comic book shop, and we're probably going to drive. What a bummer. I would prefer to be biking if it was, you know, if it was not in the negatives. If we were in something more comfortable, I would bike up to the shop. But it is what it is. Looks like we're going to be in this for a little while. So hopefully, maybe next week. Maybe next week I'll be able to bike up to the shop. So, all right. thanks for sticking around for all of this. And we'll see you in the comic book shop and then back here to talk about what I picked up. So every time that I film a video the night before and I say, oh, this is what's going to happen, it's not what happens. There was obviously no bike ride because it's like 3 degrees outside, and well, I would be fine with that. I can't do that to the kid. Oh, and I got my Cyclops mug with the tea the wrong way. That's better. I know I made a big stink about the fact that we were going to like watch Wonder Man, and then whatever was left over, my sister was going to swing by and pick up Henry. And then last night we started watching Wonder Man, and we got through the first 4 episodes, and I was under the impression that like they were going to be long episodes. I don't know why, but I was like, oh, they're, you know, usual, typical, like possibly 45 minutes. There's going to be 8. It's going to take some time. So I was like, might need to call in the babysitter. And so 2 things happened. We got through the first 4 episodes. I thought they were great. It's exactly what I was kind of hoping it would be, which is like, obviously, if you've been following along in the Corner Box Classics thing, one of the things that I like about the Dazzler book is, you know, the soap opera, like her trying to be a musician thing. And so this hits sort of that button for me, but with Simon and Trevor wanting to be actors. So I got through the first 4 episodes, thought they were great, but they're like 22 minutes long. So I was like, forget it. We don't need to waste, you know, we've only got the one person in our life who's willing to occasionally babysit for the little guy. So it was like, we're not gonna waste that for this. Plus, like midway through the day at work, I was like, and I couldn't get to the comic book shop earlier, and I like him going with me. It's part of our routine, even though we weren't biking. So I was like, forget it. You're done. You don't get to see him. So, you know, instead, as opposed to biking, we went out to dinner and then went up to the comic book store, and you know, it was the 3 of us. So that was good. So that was, you don't care. So tonight, after he goes to bed, we will wrap up Wonder Man. And like I said, really enjoyed the first 4 episodes. Not going to obviously get into any spoilers of it, but I've enjoyed it. I think I cannot think of the actor who's playing Simon in the show, but he's doing great. Like, love it. And obviously, Trevor Slattery has been a blast for the 13 years that he's been in the Marvel Universe. So, light week. When it comes to the shop this week. So first up, 1776 number 3. I've enjoyed the first 2 issues immensely. I am slowly flipping through it. Part of my issue with this is that Cyclops was on the cover. That's one of the reasons why I pre-ordered it. And so far with 2 issues, he has not shown up. And as I flip through this, I'm guessing that he probably doesn't show up in this one, which is a huge bummer. I will admit, like, as much as I've enjoyed this, that is an absolute bum out. It's one of the things I hate about modern comics is when, like, when, you know, back in the day, okay, what do I got over here? I picked up a Worf action figure while I was there. Because I've been making my way through Star Trek The Next Generation. There's a good chance that in this, Superman is going to fight Spider-Man. That's how comic covers should be. Like, that's just how they should be. You shouldn't put a character on a book to boost sales if that character isn't going to be in the book. That is a no-no in my book. Up next, Sorcerer Supreme number 2. Again, this is another one of those, like, the spoilers for Blood Hunt, an event from last summer, I think, when Strange was tricked into giving up the sorcerer's, the like Eye of Agamotto for, I was about to call it the Sorcerer's Stone, and I was like, that's not it. When he gives up the Eye of Agamotto, and he's duped into giving up being Sorcerer Supreme, and all of that kind of dovetailed into One World Under Doom. And they announced this Sorcerer Supreme thing, but they announced it with a cover of like a bunch of people in the cloak. And I legitimately thought it was going to be one of those like, oh, look at all these characters vying to be the Sorcerer Supreme. And that didn't happen. It was just like, oh, it's one, and I don't remember when it just went to Wanda. And so this is on the chopping block for me. I've been like sticking it out with this Scarlet Witch story, but I just, and like I was gonna drop it, and then they did the Vision and Scarlet Witch thing, and that's a series like the original like Vision and Scarlet Witch series from the 80s. I absolutely love, and I like the Vision and I like the Scarlet Witch, so I was like, all right, I'll stick it out. And then with this, I was like, oh, it's gonna be this thing where they like duke it out to see who's Sorcerer Supreme. That could be some fun magic stuff, and it's not. But I pre-ordered it like a dummy, so I pick it up. There's going to be a couple of those in here. One of those is the End 2099. Again, this was a #1 issue where they were like, oh, we're plucking the Scott and Jean out of the Dark Phoenix saga portion of the timeline and dropping them into 2099. And I was like, well, that would be fun. And it's just a continuation of more 2099 nonsense. So this is all starting off with stuff that I'm like, curse you, previews catalog, and me being dumb and pre-ordering stuff that I don't actually like. This is I have a buddy who reads his stuff like I think it's like he saves all the stuff that he really loves for the back. Like he front loads his stack of like, oh, these are the things that are like on the chopping block, and I read those first, save the good stuff for last. And I wish I had that type of self-control, because I'm going to read the good stuff first, and then this stuff is slowly going to wind up. And that's kind of how I judge it, where it's like, if I'm still reading, if I haven't gotten through my new books by like Sunday night, then the stuff that's still there the following week, I'm like, that stuff should probably get cut. And that's kind of my metric. And so these three things are like on the Sunday night. This is bleeding into next week. These are taken away from me reading old, classic, great Marvel comics. So you better wow me this week. Speaking of things that I ordered, this wound up in my poll list. I don't think I ever added it, but this was the issue where they kind of explain where Bruce Banner is during all this Infernal Hulk nonsense. And so like I flipped through it and I was like, but like, you know, part of the pencil, it seems like everyone really enjoys this Nick Klein guy and he's a draw, but it looks like the Bruce Banner stuff is done by Kev Walker, and I really like Kev Walker's art. And so I was like, oh, they put it in my pull box. I love my shop. I'm gonna buy it. And you know, hopefully this is the issue for me that makes or breaks this title for me. So you know, I have high hopes. This is like an all new comic book week frustration. The Amazing Spider-Man annual #1, even though it's like annual number 45, but this is volume 7, so who cares? Numbers don't matter anymore. I miss annuals that were big deals. Growing up, the summer annuals were like thick. They you know, you had your Atlantis attacks, and like it took over all the summer annuals, and like those were the events back then. Books were allowed to breathe throughout the year and just tell their story and not get pulled into every event, because the event stories were saved for annuals. They were big. You could put, you know, weird, not the normal creative teams on there, test out some new artists, do some backup stories, have some pinup galleries. It was fun. Like think about how much fun you might have had back in the 80s, possibly. I don't know, because I don't think I have all the pieces of it yet. Atlantis Attacks is one of those events that, like, being an X-Men guy, was sort of like on the fringes of, but it looked super fun from like the ads. That it's probably junk, but looks super fun. And there were X-Men events back then that tied in through the annuals, their own kind of thing. And I loved those. I thought they were great. And I sort of missed that being the annual thing. I'm hoping this is great. I mean, sometimes they're a blast. I'm hoping this one's a blast. But it is kind of one of those things where, like, the completionist in me still always picks up annuals, even though I don't think this is going to have, it's not the creative team. I don't think it's going to have much to do with what is going on in current Spider-Man. So I'm just sort of hoping for fun from this, but I don't necessarily know, like, where this is going to fit in. And every time that I buy one of these, I know that it's a gamble. Like, back in the day, you were like, these are going to be fun, but now they're like, it's a gamble, because it sort of starts to feel somewhat throwaway. Like, back then, you used to get a lot of bang for your annual buck, and now, granted, I mean, they charge which is still ridiculous, that they're $4.99. I'm normally not this. This is why I need to ride the bike up to the shop. It gets all of this out of me. Let's hope it's good. Here's the book I'm most excited for. Iron Man number 681. This kick-ass Ryan Stegman wraparound cover. So last Iron Man run, this steampunk Iron Man, it was like written by a journalist. I'm not 100% sure. It's hot garbage. I picked up like the first 3 issues, and like that was one of the, there was an issue where it was probably issue 2 or issue 3, where I got like 4 pages into it and was like, nope, not even wasting my time. I'm just done. Like, not even finishing the comic book. And let me tell you, that is a hard thing for me to do. Like, if I buy a comic, I'm reading it cover to cover. And so for me to throw in the towel a couple pages into an issue, it was bad. So, I see that logo on there. I see some cool armor. I hope that this is straight up Iron Man fun. Art looks good. I don't know. Of course, the name's not right on it, and I don't want to flip too far into it because I don't want spoilers. Okay, Joshua Williamson. I don't think I've ever read anything by him, and this Carmen Carnero on art. I don't know, but I mean that harkens back to some Iron Man that I grew up with. So this is doing it for me. This is my number 1 book that I'm excited for this week. Am I going to put it at the back of the pile and read it last, or am I going to read it first? Tune in next week to find out. I apologize for this one being such a rough one, but I looked at that list of books and I was like, oh, this is going to be tough. And then when you add in the fact that I didn't even get to ride the bike with the little guy because of it being negative 17 outside. So, terribly sorry that I had to end the show this way. Next Wednesday, on top of there will be a Corner Box Classics this week for me. Next week, it will be a new comic book week. Fingers crossed that it's a little bit warmer and we might be able to ride up to the shop. And it's a better week for comics that week. All right, so Corner Box Classics this weekend, first week of April 1982. There's some good stuff in there. I would be remiss at this moment. I was just thinking about like what's ahead in April 1982, and that is I have a random issue of Incredible Hulk. So I think it's the first time that the Hulk gets pulled into it, and that issue is drawn by Sal Buscema or Buscema. I've always said it Buscema. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention how bummed I was. I absolutely adore Sal Buscema's artwork. His run on Spectacular Spider-Man is one of my favorites. Anytime that I would like crack open a book and see his pencils, the like cool elongated face, I loved it. I know that I will take some heat for this, but I actually prefer Sal's art to his older brother John's. I'm a bigger Sal fan than I am a John fan. Have at me in the comments if you think that's wrong. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, there's good stuff that week for Corner Box Classics. Next week, comic book wise, there's some good stuff on the horizon. It's a better week than this week. And there is a channel that I love on YouTube, a great fella named Mr. McGroovy, and his channel, Mr. McGroovy. I will link it down below to send you there. Next Wednesday, he and I chatted about comics for a while. He has a great show called People with Issues, where he interviews, he chats. It's not really like an interview. He throws you some random questions and you two get to chat about comics, and it's fantastic and it's great. And that's one of the things that I love about this is like, I know all of my things that make me tick and like my pals, but it's always nice to see like what motivates other fans, their origin stories, what their favorite stuff is, what their collections look like. I love that stuff. So I was very happy to take part in that. So that's gonna drop next Wednesday. So, you know, look forward to that. And you should check out his back catalog. He does fantastic work with the People with Issue stuff, and has a show where it's called Sidebar, where he, you know, talks about what he's reading or picking up, and I enjoy it immensely. And yeah, so that is it. So no ride, but I still appreciate you taking this ride with us. Bye.